So on that note, hello everyone. Welcome. This is Teases and Tell, a Teases and Dares plus show and tell mashup. My fabulous co-host is Lee Bennett, the curator of his Teases and Dares blog and the co-host of Ricky Wilde's Unsung Heroes podcast. Welcome, Lee.
Hello, it's lovely to see you. And I'm really pleased and honoured to be here on this special edition of Show and Tell, which is Teases and Tell just for today. And I'm really honoured to be with a pop culture commentator and broadcaster extraordinaire, a contributor at Pop Art Av, and let's just also say a recording artist in her own right as well. And of course, the main host in normal times of Show and Tell. She's my kid in America. See where we're going?
Oh, yeah,
and what does that make me? Your English muffin? I don't know where we go with this.
and if it's not obvious to everyone,
Your Kal-Elle Jagger.
Lee's in England, of course. And yes, the Jagger. I got the Jagger. Lee's in England, and of course, I'm in the USA. So, so today we have our personal picks for multi-genre solo female voices or femme voices. We'll have a surprise at the end, that have impacted us throughout the years, all the way to the present, and continue to do so. So some could be considered divas, rightly, but you know.
Yeah, we're going to expand the definition of diva, I think, today over this, perhaps.
I did,
all-encompassing.
Yes, all-encompassing. And I did want to mention that not all divas are operatic belters. You know, some of my picks, as you'll see, have, you know, take on a softer yet equally effective approach. So on that note, Lee, you're up.
Okay, so I thought we'd probably go in at the beginning, perhaps with a shared diva, someone that we both have, you know, a strong feeling about. There's some very obvious visual clues around the room already for anyone that is very eagle-eyed. And so we're going to go in with Ms. Wilde, Kim Wilde. For me, this is where my musical journey started back in 1981. The first record I ever bought was Cambodia, which was Kim's fourth single, but I was only 7 back then. Bought that single with my pocket money, started that whole relationship with Kim and her music, which for me still is super strong, the most strong that it's ever been all those 40 years later. Can you believe it, 40 years later? What I would say about Kim in terms of why I've chosen her is there's such a depth to her artistry that a lot of people don't know about. I know people will think of her perhaps differently in the US to the UK and in Europe. I know she's known for a couple of particular songs for you guys, but there's real depth in her across her albums. She's a great songwriter, which people don't know. She's a lovely person. Lots of people might not know that as well. She's still really excited about making music. COVID has gotten in the way of her greatest hits tour, the Pop Don't Stop tour, but it's coming. Rearranged dates for all of Europe and the UK, and fingers crossed maybe she'll get to the States. I'd love for you guys to have that opportunity at some point. She loves Australia too, so I'm sure she'll get back there. So yeah, so Kim is my number one choice. I have a couple of exciting show and tells here.
Ooh.
So this is Teases and Dares.
Wait a minute. Did you steal
this is the album that my blog is named after. Okay. So, and she looks like Jane Fonda in Barbarella. That was apparently the inspiration for the styling on this record. So that's where Teases and Dares. I often get asked, where does the name of the blog come from? Well, it's this very special record right here. Do you remember picture discs back in the day?
Wow.
So that's one of the singles from Teases and Dares is called The Touch, and this is an original picture disc. I haven't tried to play it. I daren't play it, but
that's gold right there. What else? Oh my gosh, that is.
And so this one I think might have a special meaning for you. We have a bit of Another Step. So, of course, Another Step is the album where the single was You Keep Me Hanging On, which, you know, absolutely was a number one in America. That's quite a unique thing for me to be able to say. Kim has had a number one in the States. She's never had a number one single in the UK. but it's from this record. And very quick story about this record. I was talking to the lovely Bunny X ladies, who I loved your interview with, by the way, a couple of weeks ago. And Abigail is a huge fan of the slow songs on this album. And that's a whole other side to Kim that people don't talk about, her ballads, which this record is full of.
It's amazing.
So that's our joint choice, I think. And then you'll see in the back. No, you go.
I see the back. Okay, let's see that there's the Pop Don't
So
Stop.
we have the Pop Don't Stop 5 CD and DVD collection in the box set. That's super new and really all encompassing. It has absolutely everything on there. It's a lovely new collection.
And
then the lovely chap that does Kim's website, Marcel Rees, wrote a really great book, which it's a biography, but it's really musical, and that it's kind of like an encyclopedia, really. It focuses, each chapter is about a different part of her musical life, as opposed to focusing on, salacious gossip and all that kind of stuff. It's a real musos book. So if people want to read a Kim Wilde book, this is the one to read.
Wow, that's awesome. So give me one story in your younger days of a Kim Wilde moment.
Oh my gosh, there are so many. So they're often linked to my dad, actually. So my dad always got how much I loved music and how much I loved Kim. And I was an only child, so music always was extra special to me as an only child. And I can remember when The Second Time came out. That's the first single from TEASES Dares. I remember him picking me up from school, and I remember him taking me home. And he was meant to pick up the song, the single from the record shop on the way to pick me up from school. But when he picked me up, he was like, no, they didn't have it. I'm really sorry. And I sulked and pouted all the way home, had a real, tantrum when I got in, and I sat down in the living room. And then about 10 minutes later, the song started blaring out upstairs really, really loud. So he had it all along. So that's one of them. It's really funny how whenever I felt that I've needed a lift or something hasn't been quite right in life, whether that was as a teenager or as an adult, Kim's music has always come along with something extra, something new to just give me what I need at that moment. So I have dozens of Kim moments.
Well, I'm gonna give you 3, and yes, I'm very honored that we are sharing Kim. So yes, as one of the kids in America in 1981, I have so much love for Miss Kim for obviously a very long time. So with the aforementioned song, of course, but then also, and I was 9 or 10. So then awkwardly stumbling into my puberty that became a late puberty. I get emotional. I remember how she comforted me holding up walls in bars, pubs in New York City's West Village at 16 or 15, where I was underage. And I would go to these bars and just hold up a wall, shy, and I wouldn't talk to anyone. And then I just remember looking up and Say You Really Want Me was what it was with all the cute boys, and it made me smile, and it was such a dreamy moment. So Kim was with me at the bar. I need somebody through the thick and the thin, 'cause I know the problems of the day. Time is up and never playing much games. Let's take it away. Don't keep it to yourself. Just me and no one else. Let me. Ooh, let me know what's true. Say you want me the way that I want you. Say you want me. And then later, like a year or two later, oh my God, past the Studio 54 days, we had our Palladium in New York was a old theater turned into a club. And in 1985, 86, 87, this was a place for Keith Haring, Boy George, Andy Warhol, Grace Jones. And one of my nights there with, this kind of star-studded energy, You Keep Me Hanging On, was blaring through the disco, and that was just a magical moment, you know. And I want to give props to Ricky Wilde. We do want to acknowledge
Legend,
you know,
a legend.
production work and everything he's done, you know, behind the scenes, even though we know he used to be up front and center as a kid. But I want to acknowledge him, and I know you work with him as well. So
He's amazing, such a genius, and a humble genius. That's you know, he doesn't know how good he is, which makes it even more amazing.
I'm hoping I'll get to chat with him one day. And to round this out, I want to say that I honestly wouldn't be here right now chatting with you if it wasn't for Kim Wilde, quite literally. Like I mentioned in my Bunny X interview, you know, Kim was the catalyst for me to be where I am right now. In the past 2 years, through the pandemic, you know, she's the one I was listening to. Like I said, another step, another step, another step, close.
Right,
you know what I mean? And it's like, and that led to, you know, the synth scene that I'm currently a part of. So
yeah.
And lucky you're about to see 4 of her shows.
I'm going to see 4 of the shows in September. Yeah. And in return, you've also been a catalyst for something, because it was during your interview with Bunny X where I heard them mention that they're doing a remix album of their record, which I didn't know until I heard them talk about that on your show. And then something hit me. I had a thunderbolt moment, and I thought, "Ooh, a remix record for Bunny X. Who might be good for that?" Watch this space, because you are going to have your socks blown off.
When I look into your eyes, it's a perfect paradise. Paradise. Hey. When I look into your eyes, it's a perfect paradise. Every time we meet, when I look into your eyes, it's a perfect paradise.
Everyone keep holding on. Ah, and on that note, here's a teaser of the concert. Here we go. Boop.
Most successful UK female of the 1980s.
It's Kim Wilde. Looking at a dirty old window, down below the cars and the city rushing by. I see you and I wonder why. Friday night and everyone's moving. I can feel it here, but it's soothing, letting down. Why search for the beating steady down to the end without going, down to the end without going. We're the kids in America, oh, we're the kids in America, oh. Everybody live for the music of
Back, so that's going to be amazing. I'm very jealous that it's happening in other parts, but Kim, please, we are waiting for you in America.
Fingers crossed for you.
All the kids from America, we're still here for you. Mwah. So my next pick actually predates Kim by a few years. Her first album came out 5 days before my first birthday. So I've been hearing her for a very long time. And of course, she blew everyone away in 1978 with a little movie called Grease. And I wasn't hating on her with Xanadu. I got that album as well. Then when Physical came out, that was it for me. Very dear to my heart. In fact, got to show you the Physical album. And it's one of those classics where, you know, they would open up.
Oh, wow.
So I have that. And of course, she was all about the Dolphins, and I think she still is. So yeah, love me my Olivia Newton-John forever and ever. Before that, when I lived in Australia for 4 years. So while in Australia, when I lived in Melbourne, I had a moment at the Brook Street Mall, and she was there doing a thingy. And I was just that far away from her. And it was just so surreal, so surreal. So Olivia, we love you, and in good health. Well wishes.
We've
All right,
both lived in Australia. I feel there's a story to tell
What?
there.
Wait,
Yeah, I lived there for a year too.
you lived in Australia too?
Yeah, that will come. That's coming up.
Oh, okay. Well, on that note, who is your next pick?
So my next pick is, I'm going to move into the late 80s, and I really, really got into the R&B pop crossover, which I think Janet Jackson was really responsible for. And then there were loads of artists that came at the end of the 80s that really nailed that sound as well, particularly if they were produced by L.A. Reid and Babyface or Jam and Lewis as well. But the standout R&B album for me of the 80s is this one. It's Karyn White. So she's known for the song Superwoman, which was a huge kind of mega ballad, beautiful song. But there are some other brilliant songs on here. There's a particular one called Tell Me Tomorrow, which is really gorgeous. And she doesn't tour a lot. She does a lot in real estate these days, but she did come to London a few years ago, and she played a quite legendary venue over here called the Jazz Cafe. And I got to see her with a DJ friend of mine, Neil Prince. Hello, Neil. And she still absolutely had it. What a diva, what a soul voice she still has. So soul and R&B album of the 80s for me was this. And then the follow-up album spawned this single, Romantic, which is also incredible. So yeah, Karyn White, my second pick.
Wow. Well, I can't let that go without saying Superwoman. You're aware that my name, Kal-Elle, is Superman's birth name as a child. So I am Kal-Elle, the female version of Superman. So a Superwoman in my own right.
So I feel a synthwave cover of Superwoman coming on. I can hear that now.
And we may know some producers.
Let's
talk about that.
Magic that into life.
Don't break my heart tonight, no. Tell me tomorrow, hey baby, let's just.
So my next choice, Kate freaking Bush, man. Okay, the word is often, it's overused sometimes, underrated, but she is one of those people so underrated. But what's nice is that I'm seeing, this is one of those two that opens up. I'm seeing kids today discovering her, and it is really nice. You know, she has so many obviously beautifully theatrical songs. Absolutely adore her.
Be unhappy and if only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap out places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. If only could.
So, you know,
I'm going to make you super jealous now.
be careful
I
now.
was one of the really lucky ones that got to see Kate on the tour that she did a few years ago when she came back and did that run in London. And I went with Ricky Wilde. Isn't that funny?
Oh,
We
wow.
went and saw Kate Bush, and it was just, nobody was allowed a phone, and everyone was really respectful, and she was unique, I think is the word, just absolutely unique. No one else could have done what she did that day at that concert. Incredible.
Must have been a moment. Oh my God. Yes, I'm very jelly. So who's your next person? Could it be?
So we're going through, and we mentioned living in Australia. So I was out there in the mid-90s. We're moving on in chronology here. And I discovered a voice. And that is really what I describe my next artist as. She's called Tina Arena. And she had a song that maybe guys in the States will know called Chains, which is an incredible song. But if I had to pick my favorite live vocalist, it would be Tina. I've seen her several times, and it is a voice that just cuts to your core in terms of emotion. She could literally sing anything. It doesn't matter what the words are. She has an ability to convey a message unlike anyone else. She's still making great music. She's made records in French as well. She's very popular in France. She had almost like a second career over there recording in French. She's just absolutely spellbinding live. If you ever get the chance to see her, be it in a musical, she's done quite a few musicals as well. But if you get to hear her sing live, it's a magical thing.
As our spirits take us higher, do you feel me now, burning like a flame? If you touch me, I may disappear, floating through your eyes. How do we resist the gravity of love in the symphony of life?
Wow. And so you lived in Australia as well. Where were you?
I did, and that's when I discovered her. And it's odd because she has a slightly different image in Australia because she was a child star, and I never knew any of that. So when I heard her, I was hearing her almost as she wanted me to hear her, with no baggage and no history. I was just hearing this voice for the first time in the mid-90s, but the rest of Australia knew her already and had a very kind of preconceived idea. So the Chains album was literally her breaking free of those chains and becoming this mature grown-up artist. That's what it was all about, but I never knew any of that. So I just heard it as I heard it, you know. And just stayed a fan. And I think the fact I found her when I was out there, it was like, you know, it's great to have those holiday musical discoveries that you have. And I just kept following her all the way through, because why wouldn't you want to keep hearing that voice?
What years were you there? I'm just curious.
Mid-90s, the first time for a year, 94 into 95, which is around the time of that record coming out. And then I've been back several times since.
Wow, that's amazing. Gosh, yeah, I miss Australia with a passion. I was there for 4 years, was this close to becoming a permanent resident citizen.
Wow.
You know, I had to come back home, and trust me, I was that close just to being, you know, I was living in Sydney for 2 years, and
Sydney's great.
Coogee Beach. And then when I found Melbourne and St. Kilda, where I lived on Fitzroy,
Wow.
it was magical. I had to, that's another chat for another time.
The Tina's from Melbourne, I think.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
she lives.
So, I mean, I'm glad we have this Aussie connection.
Aussie connection.
To our folks out there, we're going to make sure they see this video. And so my next girl is, you know, a lot of our people were in, you know, groups or duos or whatever before, but I'm just focusing on their solo careers. So get ready. Miss Debbie Harry, of course. Powerhouse. And some of our girls in the synth community have worked with her or done covers, and I'm sure we're going to mention somebody coming up in a little bit. But yeah, who's your next pick?
So it works quite well, actually, because my next pick is someone that was originally in a band that went solo, and it kind of coincided with me beginning to discover more alternative music in the 2000s. So it's Jenny Lewis, and this was the album that led me down a completely different road musically, where I'd never really explored alternative indie music really, and Jenny Lewis started me on a whole other journey. She was in a band called Rilo Kiley before, who were kind of quite folk indie pop kind of band, and then she went solo, and I have to say it's her solo records that I love the most. This was the first one, Rabbit Fur Coat. It's an absolute stunner. And yeah, she's one of the best lyricists. Elvis Costello, I think, says that she is the greatest lyricist of her generation. She's really very special, and she has another special connection for you and I, and that she was a child actress and was once in a very iconic episode of The Golden Girls. She is the girl who kidnaps Rosie's teddy bear Fernando and holds it to ransom. That's her.
Get the door, Rose. You.
Good morning.
Well, kid, what do you want?
I changed my mind. I was wrong to ask for all those gifts.
Dorothy, you see, I knew she'd come to her senses.
I decided cash is better. That way I can buy exactly what I want.
I'll get my purse.
No, Blanche, I'm not going to let you do that. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and if after all the years of love and companionship, Fernando and I are meant to part company, I'll just have to accept that. Time to time, life deals you an unfriendly hand. There's nothing you can do about it. I guess there's a lesson to be learned here. Sometimes life just isn't fair, kiddo.
I'm gonna have to go look at that and it's online right now. So after we're done, I'm gonna go watch that again. So that's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, Jenny Lewis, great, incredible artist.
Okay, good. So I'm learning new stuff from you as well. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with her, but I'm definitely gonna go check her out. One of my girls, you have a CD for me to show. Sarah McLachlan. I was so fortunate to attend Lilith Fair, a few Lilith Fair shows.
Oh, wow.
99. There were other girls there, you know, but just like you had your experience with Tina, seeing Sarah in person, her voice and the experience, she's always been like this ethereal being. And Sarah, you need to, you know, give me a call. Let's have coffee. Let's get you, I want to hear some new stuff. I'm sure you're doing stuff up in Canada, but Sarah McLachlan forever, just magical, magical, magical.
She has a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean much.
Doesn't mean anything at all.
who's next.
I think you might. So moving through to kind of more recent times in the last few years, I really began to explore the synthwave scene. And for me, the leader of the pack in that scene is Nina. And this is her Cynthian album. Even the artwork's gorgeous. Look at that. And I have a brilliant Nina story. So Ricky Wilde and I were in London going to see The Midnight, the other synthwave legends. And I send Ricky new music quite a lot for him to listen to. And I'd send him a Nina track. I gift stuff to him on iTunes, and he was digging Nina's song. And we're standing in the queue to go in and see The Midnight in London at the Scala, great venue in London. And we were literally looking at Nina's song on his phone. We look up from his phone, and about 8 people ahead of us in the queue, it's Nina. It was just bizarre. And I'm like, Ricky, that is Nina. And he was like, what? It was just this bizarre twist. Anyway, we didn't think any more of it. But I had nagged him and said, you should work with her. There is definitely something, there's something in the sound where you would really work well together. And him being the humble genius that he is, he was like, no, don't, I don't think she'll want that. No, anyway. So we went into the venue, we stood waiting for The Midnight to come on. I turned to my left, and who he stood literally next to me is Nina. So I say hi, and she knew me from the blog and stuff. And I said, meet my friend Ricky Wilde. And she was like, wait, what? That Ricky Wilde? And I was like, yes, that Ricky Wilde. He'd love to work with you. And Ricky was like, oh. And she was like, well, I need a couple more songs for my album. This would be amazing. I think that was on the Tuesday. By the following Monday, they were in the studio working on 2 of the songs that made it to Cynthian.
Wow.
So it was just meant to be, and they continue to work together. And let me tell you, those 2 have cooked up some real gems when they get to see the light of day.
Okay, so there's some secret stuff hidden. Come on, bring it on. We are
ready. There's some good stuff in there, and Nina is such talent. She's really incredible. I always say that I think Ricky gets something out of her vocally that's just a little bit extra. There's just something.
Wow. Discovered Christine and the Queens. Actually, a little closer. Let's see that fabulous person. They go by she and they in all pronouns, so I'll put that out there. So I learned about them watching the Global Citizen live concert from Paris just this past September, and she's been on my playlist ever since.
heart, then you know the feeling, you know the feeling.
Like that. So
Yeah, another one I've been very lucky to see live in London, and it's the way she brings dance and movement into the performance is. I hadn't seen anything quite like it. It was really something to see, and not dance in the traditional sense of how you have a pop.
bendability and the movements, yes. Everything.
Yeah, it was just really incredible.
Yay. So we're gonna round it up. We have one more diva, and who
what a diva I have for you. So this man epitomizes diva. He is diva in all senses. It's Mr. Tom Aspaul. Let me show you these records in order. So he made the most incredible disco record 2 years ago called Black Country Disco.
Oh wow.
It's a proper full-on disco record. It's absolutely incredible, and I was a big fan of Tom. And there's another, we're rounding out with another Kim story. So Kim came to me when she was putting together Pop Don't Stop, because she wanted 2 new songs.
Wait,
and her
and
and
put that a
Ricky,
little closer to the screen. I need to embrace that moment. Oh, there you are. Mwah. All right, so continue.
Kim and Ricky and Scarlett, Ricky's daughter, had come up with this amazing song called You're My Karma. And they sent it to me saying, we hear this as a duet, and we want a kind of a new buzzy artist. Who do you hear, Lee? Who is it? Black Country Disco hadn't long been out, and I was like, within 30 seconds of hearing You're My Karma, it was like, it's Tom. It has to be Tom. So I messaged him and said, hi, how do you feel about jumping on a Kim Wilde album? And he was like, what? And thankfully, he absolutely went for it. And the end result is incredible. But the story doesn't stop there, because all the rage at the moment is, of course, the remix album. So, and this is where his divahood comes out, because his cover art for his remix album, Black Country Discotheque, is based on Madonna's You Can Dance.
Wow.
And so he said, well, Kim, if I do this song with you, how do you feel about jumping on a remix album with me? And if you don't know the song WM, which is Kim and Tom remixed by Initial Talk, it was my favorite piece of music last year. It's pop heaven. So, and Tom is an incredible live performer, a real diva on stage, from costumes to, he does everything himself, truly independent artist. And yeah, he deserves, so much acclaim. Kim has become a massive fan of him. So
thanks to you. I mean, you've introduced me to 2 artists in this session alone. So this is,
you'll love this record. I guarantee you will absolutely love this.
Okay, which
record.
was the song that Kim did with Boy George?
So that's Shine On. So that's the other song on Pop Don't Stop.
And
so there were 2 new ones. There was Shine On and You're My Karma.
Going back to the Palladium with Boy George and Kim blasting to the. I mean, it's just we're all so connected.
So they did 2 songs together as well. So there was Shine On for Kim's record, and then she jumped on George's record and did Name and Number, which is a very New Yorkie, New Shoes type sounding song, which is also really great. That was for his Cool Karaoke record.
Wow. This has been really, really, really fun. Do you think we can hang out again?
Oh, I'd love that. We need a new theme next time. What shall we have? Girl bands?
We'll
Girl
talk about it, or
bands?
maybe we'll put out a poll and see.
Power ballads? What do people
Something,
want us to
something.
talk
This is-
about?
What's really cool about what we're doing is that we are going multi-genre and
Yeah.
multi-time period. So, you know, we're not going to stay in a little box. I'm noticing that a lot in many communities. They just want to stay within a small little box. I'm not about that.
No,
So,
let's not do that.
you know, anyway, thank you so much. Let's wave at our friends and
Hi, everyone, and bye, everyone.
girls. Mwah.
Two of us growing out together through a golden age. We never realized it, our lives you changed. Days of pure inspiration. Well,